Visit our sponsor, Midwest Model Railroad. Their new location with 5,500 square feet of inventory and next-day shipping make them your premier model railroad destination. MidwestModelRR.com. Link in the description. Hey everybody, welcome to Railroad Wrap. I'm Ron of Ron's Trains and Things, and if you'd like to see more model railroad tips, tools, and techniques, then be sure to subscribe down below and click that little bell icon so you can catch future videos. Well, we are starting something completely new today, and I am very excited about it. I think that it's going to be a lot of fun, and I know you're going to enjoy it as well. This is Railroad Wrap, the Model Railroad video magazine, where my cohorts and I are going to talk about some of the things that we are seeing that are cool, interesting, fascinating in model railroading, and going to have a little fun at the same time. So not that they need any introduction, but let me introduce my cohorts to you here. First of all, the host of Modeler's Life podcast, that marginally adequate model railroad podcast, my brother from another mother north of the border, Lionel Strang. And the editor of Model Railroad News and HO Scale Collector magazines, a veritable encyclopedia of railroad and model railroad knowledge, here because we really need an adult in the room for supervision, my friend Tony Cook. Good to see you all. Glad that you could join me, and I'm really excited about what we're going to do. So let's just jump right in. Tony, why don't you start us off?
Why does Tony get to go first?
Because we're going by the best looking.
Oh, okay.
So go ahead and take a little breather. You'll be left. Anyway, I think one of the big things happening right now is Broadway Limited Imports is announcing their Paragon 4 system, which is going to be, of course, DCC sound, as the other systems have been before it. This one adds a capacitor for HO as well as kind of a capacitor for N-scale to help you over dead spots and, connection problems. And you have that sometimes with DCC where it hits something and then stops and has to restart and goes through the whole startup sequence. So this should help combat some of that. There's a number of other improvements and enhancements. And there's a switching mode that you can put a locomotive into that then increases the lower end throttle. So you've got like more momentum and more control over slower things to do switching in an operating session, and that's called switching mode. And that Paragon 4 will roll out on a brand new, never before released HO scale GP20 diesel that's going to be out this May or June is when it's shipping. So it's about a month or two away, and it'll be, the Jeep 20s are from the early 60s and tons of great road names: Santa Fe, Union Pacific, Burlington Northern, Southern Pacific, Conrail, that those will be out fully assembled, ready to roll. DCC as well as dual mode compatible, so they'll run in standard DC. But Paragon 4 is the new system. You can go to Broadway Limited's website and learn more about it, or, of course, check Model Railroad News' website.
Are we allowed to ask questions?
The Canadian gentleman in the back of the room has a question.
Ron, are we allowed to ask questions?
Yeah, but I'm going to censor the answers. So.
So Paragon 4, is this something that Broadway Limited, is this their own brand?
Right. This is their take on DCC sound, so it is compatible with, any, whatever throttle you've got, NCE, Digitrax, whatever. It's still DCC, always has been, but it's their sound system, and then it also has the little unit inside the locomotive that'll send a signal to a subwoofer for their rolling thunder system to add like that sensor-round effect to locomotives.
And it's also, I think, really exciting that we're getting a capacitor in N-scale. I mean, and a keep alive in N-scale has been just almost non-existent. And if there's any scale that needs that, it's N-scale. Even just a half a second would make all the difference in the world. A little bit of dirty track or a problematic turnout. So I'm really excited to hear that someone's finally really addressing that issue with N-scale.
Which we need to see. Yeah, I don't have info yet on the first N-scale release, but we'll be watching for it.
Yes.
Was there pre-show notes that I didn't get?
You're supposed to read the memos.
Yeah. There was memos?
They were labeled Railroad Wrap.
I don't do Why is it? How come it's not rapping? Isn't that what we're doing? Like, hey, we're rapping. Boo, boo, boo.
I don't think we can't pull off rapping.
Come on, boys, let's talk about railroads, locomotives, rolling stock, and payloads. No, I don't think we can pull that off. You know, if it was rapping, then it would have to be rap in, because this is Ron's Trains in things, and there's too many ins.
And don't forget to push that little bell icon.
That's right. Click that bell icon so you can catch future episodes of Railroad Rap.
So okay, Tony, I apologize, but is the Paragon system a decoder, or is it something outside the locomotive? Like, is it like a transformer? This is all news to me, which is basically what this show is right. Stuff that we don't know. So what is that, like a DCC decoder, a Paragon?
It would be the same as, basically anybody else's DCC sound equipped model, that this would be the same thing. It's just branded Paragon 4 because it's got that ability to work with their Rolling Thunder system, which is separately sold and has a receiver that'll pick up that signal for low frequency bass. But again, they branded them just Paragon is their name for it. So
they made these in, like, this is another whole company. Like, I know you guys talked about what did you call it? The Thunder sound? What did you
Rolling Thunder.
Rolling Thunder. Yeah. Cause, Ron, didn't you, review that at some point?
I did. Thanks to my friends at Model Railroad News. Yes.
And so Broadway Limited now has their own DCC decoder that they've built. Somehow they've manufactured this thing, and now it's like somebody else is somebody else has thrown their hat into the ring. I know Broadway Limited's been there for a long.
Well, they had before,
right?
There was Paragon 3 is the current stuff, so Paragon 4 is just the latest greatest. And again, the capacitor switching mode, you can go online and see some of the other enhancements by visiting their website. There's a whole page that kind of gives a debrief on what's going to be in there.
How come I don't know anything? Why can't we figure out why I don't know anything?
Maybe, do they have DCC in Canada?
You have to be able to read. That's helpful.
Maybe they're still working on the English-French manual.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Translated yet, so it'll be there.
They need the bilingual manual.
Yeah, it'll be there.
Well, hey, Tony, I think White River Productions had some other exciting news this week as well, didn't they?
Well, actually, yes, and we even announced it on April Fool's Day, but it's not a joke. But White River has acquired Paul Withers' Diesel Era publication. Magazine has been around since the early 1990s, and anybody that's into trains, both model trains, prototype stuff, is probably familiar with it. We're going to be making it into a 64-page quarterly, and our first issue will be out this spring. There's one more issue coming from Paul Withers, and so Diesel Era will continue as part of the White River family, and I'll be serving as its managing editor.
Now, I suppose the title kind of gives the answer away, but what's the focus of Diesel Era magazine? I mean,
what is the focus of Diesel Era magazine exactly? I don't understand the title. What does Diesel Era mean?
I was thinking I was going to do mostly like narrow gauge steam and electric.
So the GG1 in the first episode, our first issue.
We're going to stick to that kind of stuff. Yeah. No, it is as it says. It hits from first generation diesels, so mid 20th century, all the way back to there, up to current GEVO things. And Diesel Era is that publication you can go to see. Like Rio Grande's GP40s, and it would go number by number through them and talk about the different production phases and paint scheme variations. And so when you're nitpicking a model, it's that source to go back to and go, look, there's a picture right there that shows it like this.
So I guess my question, and I think you just answered it, is its focus is on the locomotives, Diesel Era locomotive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it has, in the past, it has covered like a caboose or two has been featured over the years, so there has been some freight cars, but for the most part, it is, as the title says, for the serious diesel enthusiast. So fun magazine. It's always been one I've enjoyed. It's just great to, have that resource to go back and look at different things, and fun to be a part of now. And of course, we'll get to use Kevin Udaley's large collection of slides. Will help support it, and Paul Withers is, remaining on board with us and will supply content as well. So it should be really neat. And you can go to shop.whiteriverproductions.com and already has a subscription stuff up to subscribe to Diesel Era.
Well, that's exciting. I'm looking forward to see what happens there.
And you're going to be the managing editor.
Managing editor, yeah.
Do you need any warehouse help?
Warehouse? I'd have to ask. I don't know. We could.
Just don't let him drive the forklift.
I can operate a skid steer.
Well, I will make the proper inquiries.
Being a managing editor, will you do the layout, or will you have somebody else do that, or will you have a staff of thousands, or how does that work?
Thousands. We had a giant breakfast this morning where I served pancakes to all the new staff.
I thought I smelled pancakes.
I actually have our buddy Scott Thornton is working with me on that project and some other things too. So Scott's expertise in graphic design and layout. We've been working on a number of projects, and that is one of the things that we're working together on.
Scott Thornton's a cool guy. He lives up there. He lives up there in Ames, Iowa.
Yeah.
And I mean, Ames, Iowa. I wonder how far Ames, Iowa is from, what is it, Spring Creek Model Trains, which is in Dreschler, Nebraska.
Yes, Dreschler, Nebraska.
Yeah,
which kind of brings up my next topic of conversation, since you mentioned Dreschler, Nebraska, because there's something exciting going on in Dreschler this coming week, as a matter of fact.
What?
Really?
On
what a coincidence.
The 10th and 11th of April, Spring Creek Model Trains in Dreschler is going to be hosting a Fremo event. And I'm excited to go and be in attendance at that particular event. I didn't know a lot about this, so I reached out and got an email back from Mark Zucker, who is one of the sons of the owners and works there with Spring Creek Model Trains. And I found out this is actually the third year that they've had this event. They do a train show in July every other year. They've been doing that for 10 years, so this will be their fifth one this July. But a couple of years ago, they decided, it'd be fun just to have an event just for the sake of running trains. And so they invited some Fremo groups to come in. And last year, of course, with everything, all the challenges that COVID posed, it got postponed to the fall. And I think it was a little bit smaller of an event, but they still had people come from all over the country with modules to participate in this event. And this year, it looks like it's going to be a pretty major event. They're going to have both HO and in-scale Fremo layouts. And the in-scale is going to border on a record as far as the size of a Fremo layout. Fremo layout is concerned. 112 modules and 16 scale miles of mainline track. Now, Lionel, you're kind of our expert on walking. You do a lot of walking for health, and you do your big summer walk for what is it? The Ontological Psychology Department at St. Margaret's Hospital. Did I get that right?
No, not even close.
Okay, I tried.
It's the Psychosocial Oncology Department at Princess Margaret Hospital.
Isn't that what I said? I think that's what I said. No,
at 601 University Avenue in downtown Toronto, Ontario.
Well, yeah, okay. So my question to you is, how long will it take an HO scale figure to walk 16 scale miles?
Well, if they've got short legs like me, about 2 days.
Okay. I did a little math, which is dangerous. That's 528 actual feet of main line. That's pretty major layout compared to even the largest, to even the club layout. So yeah, it's going to be a massive, and that's just the in-scale layout. I don't have a lot of information about the size of the HO scale layout, but it sounds like it's going to be nothing to sneeze at as well. So pretty exciting stuff. I'm looking forward to going. I'm going to interview a couple of the guys who are organizing the layouts themselves, and I'm going to take some photographs and some video, and I think we'll be covering this in a future edition of Model Railroad News as well, and sharing with everybody kind of what's going on there. So looking forward to that, and looking forward to talking about that some more next month on the other side of that event.
When I saw the Fremo thing, I thought, all those Zuckers up in Nebraska are giving away the state I live in. Fremo. And what do you bring? Do you make a module and you bring it, and then they all get put together And how does that work? How do you know it's going to connect up? And so how does this work?
Well, and I hope to get some more detailed information about that as I interview these guys. But what I do know is, of course, they have their own set of modular standards. I don't know exactly how Fremo differs from some others. I'm going to get those details in some of those interviews. But they have standards that allow all of these modules to be able to connect together to make one freestanding contiguous layout, and that allows them to be able to put all of these together to operate. This in-scale layout, for example, is going to include 10 different cities and towns, 41 served industries on the layout, and I don't even know how many trains they'll be running at a time on 16 scale miles of track.
That's amazing.
And they have people coming from coast to coast, as far east as Delaware, as far west as Oregon and Washington, and just about everywhere in between. So literally have folks bring in their modules from all over the continental U.S. anyway to be a part of this. So I'm pretty excited to meet some of those folks from all over and kind of get their take on what this Fremo thing's all about.
That is such a great hobby shop. I think I finally got my dad there for the first time in the last year and a half. And again, you walk in and it's amazing because Deschler's a kind of like, I think it's 750 people.
Yeah.
Out there in the middle of like southern central part of Nebraska. And it's amazing. And the Zuckers are great folks. I've known them for years.
It's too bad with that Fremo layout, instead of making a contiguous running, if they could just run like right through from module to module.
Yeah, that'd be great, wouldn't it? I don't know why somebody didn't think of that. So, well, that's about all the time we have for today. So, no.
Like, really? Contiguous? Like, really? Seriously? Contiguous? Come on.
Contiguous.
Yeah. Contiguous, like the 48 states.
Trying to raise the intellectual bar here just a smidge, just like that next bump on the pole vault, right? So,
what day is this?
This is Saturday, which is April the 3rd.
Okay, well, I have some news. I have news.
All right.
I have news.
I'm excited to hear it.
This is news. Everything else is very interesting. It was fun to hear about it and talk about it, but this is news.
Okay.
On April the 17th, Tony and I are going to be on the Dude Show, Ken Patterson.
The Dude Show together.
Is that that's when we're recording it? Because he doesn't. Yeah, that's Saturday.
So they come out the 19th. Then
he releases it sometimes in the next 48 to 72 hours. But it's the Dude, so it's like, hey man, whenever it comes out, man. It's the Dude.
I was thinking about closing the show with saying, and that's what's neat this week.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, mention my name, will you? 2 or 3 times.
Yeah. Ron Marsh sent us.
I don't think he knows who I am because, he publishes that list of guests on his show, and I didn't make the list.
No. Have you been a guest on his show?
Once.
That's right. You were. He didn't publish the list. That's right. You didn't make it to the credits.
I was probably better off that way. But
your credit got bumped. The only other thing I'm going to talk about is I haven't got a copy of Dave Abele's book, and I think every person on the planet has a copy of Dave Abele's book, Guide to Signals and Interlockings, or is it Interlockings and Signals?
Signals and Interlockings.
Signals and Interlockings, which was released by another publishing company not too long ago, and everybody on the planet is buying this book. So I just thought I'd throw that in because Dave is very excited about it, and we're excited for him because he's always on the Modeler's Life podcast.
Well, we've got a reviewer lined up that to be named later. We'll find out who it is, but I've got a reviewer that's going to review the book, and then hopefully we'll be able to get them on the podcast to ask them what they thought of the book and the process of reviewing it.
That'd be cool. Yeah, that'd be cool. So I must.
And I've asked a couple of times. It's not in stock yet at Midwest Model Railroad in Independence. If you guys know that hobby shop,
I've heard of that.
Yeah, I was down there twice this week. MidwestModelRR.com, where you can buy AML swag.
Where you can buy all your Modeler's Life AML swag. You just go to Midwest Model Railroad, MidwestModelRR.com.
Your one-stop model railroad shop. That's right.
Yeah, exactly. And so your one-stop model. He is the sole sponsor of this show.
And they now have a full book section with White River periodicals available. So
Excellent.
You can pick up Model Craftsman and Rail Fan and Model Railroad News, all that.
I have a White River's production question.
Okay. I might be able to answer.
Okay, so you are already the editor of Model Railroad News.
Right.
You are the editor of HO Collector Quarterly. Now you're going to be the managing editor of Diesel Era. Like, do you sleep or how does that work?
Well, I've got my dog Bandit helps me.
Okay.
Yeah, well, he can run the K-Cup coffee machine, and he's able to scan slides. He can hit the buttons and get the slides scanned and such.
So I'm talking here, Tony.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right.
Will both quarterlies come out at the same time?
Well, we're still organizing the production schedule, but yeah, they probably will be apart from each other a bit. And I'm co-editor of HO Collector. That my buddy Tony Lucio in Kentucky does that with me. And I've got Shane Mason's my assistant editor, and Tony is contributing editor on Model Railroad News. So, yeah, there's not just one guy manning the pumps. Yeah.
No, I understand that, but it's a lot to take on. If I worry about you, little buddy.
Well, it's all well. And until they put BJ and the Bear on DVD, there's nothing to watch on television. You can't stream it. There's no discs. It and Super Train. Now, when they put Super Train out, I'll have to take a little hiatus to be able to enjoy all 9 episodes, and maybe NBC's Peacock or something will put it out. But, for now, what else am I going to do?
So how is this going to work, Ron? Like, how many times do I got to do this? Do I got to be here like every week or something?
We're gonna do this show once a month. Planning to publish it on the first Saturday of the month, and we're gonna see how it goes. And if it goes really well, and we find out we've got way too much to talk about, maybe we'll do something a little more often. But that's what we're going to start for now. And so, looking forward to being back with you all for another episode of Railroad Wrap, the first Saturday in May. And I hope that you'll join us then. And thanks for the segue there, Lionel, because we are just a little more than out of time. But I want to thank everybody for watching. And be sure and check out the description down below. You're going to find links to my Amazon page, my Micromark promo code. And also, if you'd like some more Model Railroad content right now, be sure and check out the links on your screen. And we look forward to seeing you next time. Lizzie?